How can the Russian intelligentsia make the greatest contribution to Russia and humanity across the whole field of social and historical studies? In the first instance, by rejecting the tendencies that now prevail in the high academic culture of the North Atlantic world. What we see today across the whole field of social and historical study on both sides of the Atlantic is the predominance of three tendencies. In the hard, positive social sciences, beginning with economics, what prevails is rationalization, the vindication of the established institutional arrangements as being natural, necessary, or superior. In the normative disciplines of political philosophy and legal theory, what predominates is humanization, the creation of pseudo-philosophical props to the ameliorist practices of compensatory redistribution through tax and transfer and idealization of the law. In these societies, people feel powerless to remake or reimagine the basic structure, and therefore they seek simply to humanize it. And they develop intellectual constructions that are supposed to justify and guide these efforts at humanization. And what prevails in the humanities is a subjectivist adventurism, entirely dissociated from the reimagination and remaking of society. The defenders of these three tendencies, the rationalizing, the humanizing, and the escapist, pretend to be adversaries, but in fact they are allies in the disarmament of the transformative imagination and the transformative will. The common element in these three tendencies is the severing of the link between insight into the actual and imagination of the possible. In science, to understand a state of affairs is to grasp what it might become under certain provocations. What we now find established in this high academic culture in the West is the opposite, a mystification disguised as insight, a retrospective rationalization of the established world, an attempt to sugarcoat it, an escape from it into fantasy. If the Russian intelligentsia wants to make a contribution to insight around the world, it must rebel against these tendencies. It cannot simply receive and imitate this academic culture that has declined into mystification and impotence. The vocation of the Russian intelligentsia is to strike out on a different path, to present to the world the model of an alternative intellectual practice, and to recommend itself to the attention of humanity by being faithful to itself.